Okay, now we're going to put the door frame together. We lay out the frame first. We do the E1s on the outside, the E2 at the top. It is important that with the E2 there's a little fatter side and a skinny side. The skinny side goes to the top. The fat side goes on the bottom. The E4 is in the middle. There are two of those. All of them have sort of U-shaped, and so they lay with the back down, the opening to the top. Then you do the bottom bar, which is E3, and again with the fat part to the bottom. Now with the E1s also, you have a skinny part on the outside and a fat part on the inside. So on both bars, the fat part goes on the inside of the frame, towards the inside. You also have a couple of sliders, black sliders that go in the bottom corners. You have 16 screws, 2 wheels and 2 sets of little bolts with nuts and washers. We'll start with the bottom, and what we do first is we insert these little sliders. They go into the bottom of the door frame on the actual greenhouse frame. They slide in to the bottom of the E3 with the opening also to the top, the same way like the opening in the E3 itself. Then you slide that in, then you hold the E1 up and you put the bolt through. I'm doing the second hole first, and I'm going and lining that up down here into that little track. There's a little track there, and I'm going to do that, and I hold it a little bit together, and then I am going to take a screwdriver and try to line that up. By somebody that's helping me to do this a little quicker, but this you can do by yourself. Okay, do the first one. Then I take the second hole and line that up with, there's a little hole track in the glider, and it goes into the glider. And hold it 90 degrees. Put those together. No, don't like that. Okay, make sure that they're sort of 90 degrees, and then bring both of those in at the same time. These are only aluminum screws, so be careful. Don't use a drill is my recommendation. You strip them out too easily or you break them if you do too much torque on them. Just do it, take your time, do patience. Take a Phillips head screwdriver, use a little manual labor. It's okay. Now, we go do all the other 3 the same way. You line them up with the holes and with the little tracks on the inside. You need to see where that is. So, okay. Yep. Take a little look. Do a little bit first and then do the second one. Yep. And do all 4. And you might find that once you have done the first 2, another way that may make your life a little easier than bending over like crazy and doing it on the ground like we are doing, you can also just lift these up, and you might find that just easier to go. I have done 2 this way now. Lift the whole thing up, and then you can use, you may find it just easier to do the next ones because you can screw downwards. That is a little easier to do. And you have to, of course, find the track. Okay. do this on the one side, and then you do this also on the other side. And then you have your whole door frame together. And then, next step will be to install the rollers on which the coasters on which the door slides. Okay, once you have assembled the whole door frame, the next part is we're going to attach E5 with the two coasters, the wheels, to hang the door from to the top of the door. So this is your E2 part, and we're going to attach it to that. But the first thing we need to do is to attach the wheel housing to the E5. So we take our little bolt, put that through the hole, and that is nice and tight. Then you take the wheel, but the wheel has a thicker part on one end, so it's flat on one side, and on the other side it has a little bit of sticking out. The part that sticks out goes down against the metal. So you do it that way. Then you put your little washer on it. There's a little bitty washer that goes on it. And then you have a little nut. And you tighten that perfectly fine. Then, see, that turns nicely. You do the other side. Same thing. Take the little bolt. Take the little wheel, turn it upside down. Take the washer and take the little nut. Okay, nice and tight. Okay, then you attach this E5 with the wheels to the E2. For that you can use the stainless steel bolts that we have supplied. So you go from the bottom and then, first through the E5, then attach it to the E2, and the hole through which you go is actually slightly long, and because you can adjust the E5 exactly where it needs to sit later when you hang the door. You do the same thing on the other side. Okay, this way that's all done. Now you can hang the door up on the frame. Before you can hang the door frame, you do need to insert the two little seals. You have two seals that look like this, and you have to attach them down the runners. Now you can either slide those down, but if you find that hard to do, you slide them on the inside of the door frame down these tracks. But we find that sometimes a little harder to do. Sometimes it goes easier, sometimes harder. The other way to do that is much easier. You lay it down the whole track, put half in it, and then just use a screwdriver and just push the other half underneath the other side. That is a lot easier maybe than trying to push it all the way down. You just go all the way down like this, and then you also have it all the way going into the track. And that is maybe a little easier to do. You have a choice either way. If you have too much of the rubber seal at the end, you just take a knife and just trim it off, just to make it the same length. So, and then you're done.